but has a 0% chance of killing you. What's something people don't really think about during a zombie apocalypse? What's the freakiest thing you've done in bed? Slept so hard my toes cramped up. Eat more potassium. You see, that's easier said than done. Bananas are weird, you know? I used to be bananas were like my favorite fruit to eat back in the day. And then there was this one time a couple years ago where I ate a banana and I got food poisoning, and then I was like, oh, it's fine. And then I ate another banana and I got food poisoning. Again, within like 2 weeks of each other. And so now I can't eat bananas without like going, gagging, gross, you know? Put a champagne cork in my butt and farted it out for my ex-wife's amusement, but I the bed and then cried. No, dude, no! I ate boiling hot soup with my shirt off in bed. I think that's just called BDSM. It's 2023. What's even considered freaky anymore? Ate a big prime rib dinner, then farted so loud the sheets rippled. One time I went to sleep, woke up, and couldn't move while some nightmare creature stared at me. Sleep paralysis can be wild. Bro saw the Hat Man. Holy moly, no Benadryl needed. Used a king-size duvet on a queen bed. Ooh, that's nice. Ate a Nature Valley bar in bed. Why? What the hell's wrong with you? You like crunchies, huh? I fell asleep with my jeans on at age 33 and woke up like I was in a frickin' another dimension. Just, wow, what bed is this? Is this my house? Why am I covered in drool? Either I became a werewolf or I was in a light coma. Slept for 8 whole hours uninterrupted. I still fantasize about this all the time. I also used to fantasize about this all the time, but then Pokemon Sleep came out, and Pokemon Sleep has single-handedly fixed my sleep schedule. I now get at least 7, if not 8 hours of sleep every night. It's so fucking awesome. There was this one time I laid down and blacked out to have a diabetic seizure. My roommate noticed and called for paramedics. I distinctly remember trying to thrash around to grasp something to pull myself up. To everyone else, though, it just looked like I was wildly punching myself in the dick. Also, I'm told I kicked a police officer several times during that seizure. What's the stupidest thing you've ever done to try and be cool? Wore my pants backwards during the 90s when crisscross was popular. So glad we didn't have social media back then. You would have been embarrassed on a whole nother level, my friend. Tanning booths. I had a lady friend who was into those, and I only did it like 5 times. I was so dark, the gray hair on my chest was literally glowing. Got pulled over for playing my car stereo too loud. Took the ticket, turned it back up, took another ticket, turned it back up, took a third ticket, turned it back up, spent the night in jail. Got out of jail, turned it back up. Honestly, this guy's real as hell. It all depends on what you're bumping, though. I mean, if you're playing, like, some of that gross country music, you shouldn't be bumping that. But if you're bumping my girl Taylor Swift, yeah, totally understandable. Guys, comment below what your favorite Taylor Swift song is. Mine, personally, is Enchanted. It's a really good song. Had my mullet cut off, but left a rat tail, then had it braided. My childhood best friend, who turned out to be kind of a psychopath, had a rat tail in, like, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Oh, boy. I could go on and on about that guy. In junior high, I wore a hoodie all year because I thought it would make me look gangsta. This included those balmy 90+ degree Texas days. I still do that now, but mostly just because of body dysmorphia and not because I want to look gangsta. I personally am not gangsta. I just don't like how I look, so I wear a hoodie to hide it. Told someone I had a pet turkey. I have no idea why. I was like 6 and thought it'd be cool. How did I get out of the lie? Well, conveniently, Thanksgiving was right around the corner. You ate your pet turkey? What the hell is wrong with you? In 2nd grade, I forced my mom to sign Nolan Ryan on my ball and took it to school to tell everyone I caught it at the game. It didn't take long for it to be pointed out that what I had brought was in fact a softball and not a baseball. Started smoking, still dependent on nicotine 15 years later. If you're waiting for a sign to quit, this is it. You can do it. I crashed my father's BMW in front of my friends on the first day that I got my driving license. Well, that's not good. Oh my god. Jumped off a 76-foot cliff to impress a girl. It worked, but was wildly stupid. No one had jumped from the 76-foot spot that day, and I had only heard about it from the locals, so I just went for it. Did you get the girl? Yeah, we went back skinny dipping that night and had a fantastic night. What is your darkest secret? I did a favor for an organized crime figure in the 90s. Did you kill somebody? Male. I've been selling my feet pics in videos pretending to be a female for years. Hey, get that bag, dude. If people are gonna be stupid enough, then hey, be my guest. I think about running away from life almost daily. Not because it's bad, but just because I'm bored and think this can't be all there is to it. My grandpa showed me a picture of a family reunion back in the 70s. He pointed out this fat cat fat-looking guy and told me that it was his cousin from New York. He said he would show up to these reunions and shower everyone in gifts. I googled the name and turns out the guy was in the mafia and had a very large part in a historic moment for organized crime. I have an unreturned library book from when I was a kid. Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy? Where are your parents? I love that video. Anyone else get it? I like playing those cutesy cooking games on my phone. The ones that, like, we used to play as kids on our computers. And I don't know, it seems embarrassing to admit as an adult. Hey, girl, ain't nothing wrong with Papa's Pizzeria or Papa's Freezeria or any of the other Papa's games. Those are the shit. Still are. My wife thinks I take super long showers because I'm jerking off. I'm not, usually. Most of the time, I'm sitting in a cold shower trying to wash off my anxiety. Doesn't usually work. What's something literally no one looks good wearing? My fiance wears slide-styled sandals with his toes dangling 2 inches over the front of the sandal, and it makes me sick. Rethink your life plans, maybe. Those cones that dogs wear after surgery. It's true. No one looks good wearing those. Not even dogs. Sharpie eyebrows. Long toenails. Like, no. Yeah, dude, cut those things, Those threatening patriotic t-shirts that Facebook advertises to you that say what month you were born in and what NFL team you root for. Monster Energy drink brand clothing. If you're in a bar and some guy comes in wearing a Monster t-shirt, what's your immediate thought? My immediate thought is that they're a loser named Kyle who is unemployed and still likes to relive high school varsity sports. Listen, I absolutely love VR, but precisely no one looks good in a headset. Those weird hearing aid beige colored Yeezy shoes. Hearing aid beige. I so want this to be a new paint color now. Someone else's skin. Those ridiculously large Oakley shades. Like, frick man, you look like a jackass. They don't fit your face. We get it. You made your mom spend $200 on those idiotic looking things so that you could look cool for your friends. But you don't. You look like an idiot. Go get some shades that fit. Yeah, who needs Oakleys? Get yourself some Ray-Bans, huh? They're owned by the same people. What's the most terrifying quote that you know? The days are long, but the years are short. Society is just 9 missed meals from collapsing. Never let a good crisis go to waste. All bleeding stops eventually. Emergency medicine proverb. If you are silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it. Nora Neale Hurston. How do we convince the upcoming generation that education is key to success when we are surrounded by poor graduates and rich criminals? Robert Mugabe. Someone has to leave first. This is a very old story. There is no other version of this story. Richard Sykin. A child who does not receive warmth from the village will burn it down to feel it. African proverb. Crappy environments are always a lose-lose situation to be in. The sadness will last forever. Van Gogh's last words. Homer Simpson to Bart. The worst day of your life so far. What is the dumbest thing you've ever heard someone say? I was microwaving some food and I hit the 1 so it would automatically cook it for a minute. My friend asked, why did you put it in for a minute? I usually put mine in for 60 seconds. I had to explain to him that it's the same thing. We were in high school. Someone in our group lost a flip-flop in a river and we watched it float down the stream. Another person in our group said to be patient because it'll eventually do a full loop and come back. I dated a girl who thought seahorses were the size of regular horses. She was so disappointed at the aquarium that there's no difference between turkey and ham because they both come from birds. I guess pigs really do fly in their world. How long does it take the meat to grow back on a cow when you shave it off? Bro, that's not how that works. Have you, like, bro saw a sheep and was like, yeah, this works for everything. I knew someone who thought the sun and the moon were the same thing. She was 18 and just graduated high school. You have your facts and I'll have my facts. It's crazy how many grown adults still don't understand that facts are not a matter of opinion. I was solving a Rubik's Cube and a guy asked me how many sides it has and if I can make them all blue. If you drink a Coke and then a Diet Coke, the sugar cancels out. Am I going to be accountable for everything I say? Overheard my old boss berating the rest of the staff on a shop I used to work at. What year did this happen? We were watching The Lord of the Rings. What tattoo made you walk away from a person? Older woman had a whole back tiger tattoo. I asked her about it and she told me her and her sister were both Leos. She had a full back tattoo of the wrong cat. Man, I hope that was a joke that didn't land. I love making up dumb meanings for my tattoos when people ask. This post was the motivation I needed to schedule my tattoo removal consultation. If it's a hate symbol, check around. A lot of shops will remove those for free. One of the guys at work asked me about my tattoo on my wrist and we had a whole conversation about it. I asked him if he's got any tattoos and he said, yeah, but not for long. I'm getting it lasered off next weekend. Then he lifted his shirt up and showed me a full stomach piece of a Nazi eagle swastika and the words Mein Kampf. No idea if he was getting it removed because he's changed his ways or because he couldn't take his kids to the beach without wearing a shirt. Beach problem. Anyone who reformed would have just told you that they had something offensive from when they were younger or something, not shown it. He was looking for support and a fellow Nazi. A guy I worked with showed me his Monster Energy tattoo on his back and he was proud of it. Dude had 2 words tattooed on his forehead. Walk away. Oh my. Yeah, I'd be walking away. The split legs on a dude's armpit. Fight for your faith with AR-15s in a cross shape and some Bible verses. One was Leviticus 20:13. He was an ex-Marine and is currently a cop in my town. I normally don't do politics in person, but I've never been more revolted in my life. A guy I was dating had the name of his ex above his crotch. That turned me off so much, I broke off contact after I saw it. I knew this guy who worked for Coca-Cola. He got a tattoo of the Calvin and Hobbes kid pissing on a Pepsi logo. I thought long and hard about what goes through some people's minds. Some people, I guess, are just a little too dedicated to the craft, you know? I knew someone who had his own name tattooed on his upper arm. I don't know what would possess someone to do that. You know, just in case he forgot his name, you know, he just had to look at his arm and ba-ba-ba-ba. The amount of Nazi tattoos mentioned here sickens me. What's the weirdest reason you've broken up with someone? In the early 2010-ish era, I was in college and went out for Halloween and met a guy dressed as a pirate that looked like Johnny Depp dressed as a pirate. It was the era of those movies. We started dating and I realized he looked like a pirate 24/7, 365 and I couldn't handle it. What would be extremely scary if it were 10 times its normal size? Crabs, spiders, Lord have mercy. Get back, you 8-legged freaks. If spiders were 10 times the size they were now, I would never leave my house. Interest rates. No, please. Please, no, I can't do 100% interest. Those MF'n June bugs, whatever you call them, always flying directly towards your face. Earwigs. At Chihuahua. Hailstones, anyone? I would think a 40-inch hunk of ice would be pretty damn scary. Frogs. You have no idea the voraciousness of a frog until you spend some time really watching them. Centipedes. Have you ever seen those things move? Hell, they're pretty freaky at the size they are. Kinda cool though. My student loans. What is so ancient only an internet veteran can remember? Pictures loading one line at a time. Having a stack of magazines or something else by the computer to distract yourself while a web page loads. Personal web pages with counters. Signing up for a new email address and the username not already being taken. Glorious times. Ask Jeeves, Internet Butler. ASL. Hamster dance and the blender frog. I know the hamster dance, but I'm kinda scared to look up the blender frog. Is it just the frog being blended or what? Amazon.com being a bookstore. The computer speakers making a noise before your phone rang. If poor people fantasize about winning the lottery, then what do rich people fantasize about? More time. I know a guy who worked for Barbra Streisand and apparently she was upset that her Picasso, an original, wasn't as nice as someone else's. Grass is always greener, I guess. I once had a chance to spend a few moments in idle conversation with a multimillionaire, and he told me that having money just takes the mask off of the problems that most people argue about when they think that they're arguing about money. Based on that, I guess many of them daydream about simpler times. Betting $1 on switching the lives of two people on opposite sides of the social hierarchy and observing the results of nature versus nurture and the development of a person. Real friends. One of my friends is frick you rich. Like family business makes $50 million in profit every year rich. He once complained to me about how no one takes his problems seriously and they always say you have money so you can't complain. Which is unfair because I heard that broken bones still suck and so do broken hearts, spurns, and being lied to. Remember that weird video that Mark Zuckerberg did of him grilling stuff? I imagine they fantasize about being a hardworking middle-class person doing regular stuff just to get by. Winning the lottery. I've never met a rich person who believed him/herself to be rich. Someone with 1 mil fantasizing about having 10 mil. Someone with 10 mil fantasize about having 100 mil. Someone with 100 mil fantasize about having a bill. Someone with a bill fantasize about having 10, 100 million cadillion bills. Having the most money. Being loved for who they are. Not living next door to poor people that have won the lottery. What's a type that you're attracted to but too embarrassed to tell anyone? Mad scientists. So many of these aren't embarrassing. Deleted. Don't tell anyone, but I'm into hot chicks. Feral swamp witches that will haunt my dreams and send me increasingly disturbing visions until I crawl back begging for mercy. You called? Oh, negative. Crazy enough that I think I might actually get stabbed, but not crazy enough to actually do it. That's a real fine line. That line is microns thin. One might even say razor thin. I like women that are kind of mean, or at least look mean and stern. I like girls with big ears. Haha, I find it cute. As someone with ears that look big because they stick out, this is nice to hear. Pun intended. I still find the early 2000s skater or in a band type look hot. A skinny man who wears reading glasses. They're so hot to me. Tall women that are 35 and 40 and call me a good boy. When I was young, I dated a girl with a really small head one time and I wouldn't mind more of a regular-headed woman, but I dated this girl with this little pen top, you know? Sometimes when I'm making out with her and I hold her face with my 2 hands and the bottom of my hands would touch below her chin and the top of my hands would touch on the top of her head at the same time. And she was an adult, obviously. Thank you for clarifying. And I just remember, like, damn, she got that little cabbage ball. And I just started thinking how many ideas she could even have in this thing, in this hitter, you know? On top of her neck, and I was just always scared that someone with a t-ball bat would roll up and try and hit a double. What animal has a terrible reputation, but in reality is not bad at all? Snapping turtles. So many people are afraid to move them out of the road and just pick them up by placing both hands on the bottom of their shell on either side of their tail. You can safely move to almost halfway up the shell if a turtle is large. I carried one the size of a literal car tire in my arms once. It wasn't happy, but it didn't attack. Most snappers have no interest in biting you. They'll mostly open their mouth and hiss, but as soon as you get them in the air, they'll forget about you and start moving their legs because they think they are swimming in the air. Seriously, they do. It distracts them. This is where you have to be careful not to drop them because their claws will hit your fingers as they swim. them, and those claws are sharp. If you get bitten, stroke the turtle gently up its neck and under its chin until it relaxes and lets you go. But you won't get bitten. I've been working with these guys for years upon years and have yet to be bitten, knock on wood. Vultures, basically nature's trash collector. Fun fact, pH level of their stomach acid is the lowest of any animal in the animal kingdom. Its acidity is so strong it can dissolve any organism, bones and all, which help prevent the spread of diseases. Rhinos are actually pretty gentle for their size. Hippos are the real assholes. Daddy long-legged spiders. They're harmless, but they feel like they'd be crawling all over my soul. T-Rex never hurted a human before. Barney seems nice. Boy, do I have some news for you. Black cats. One of the oldest superstition is a black cat is evil and will bring on bad luck. Black cats have the highest rate of euthanasia, 74.6%, and the lowest rate of adoption, 10% of any color. Cheetahs are pretty chill. Sharks survived all 5 mass extinctions, and we're going to be the ones to wipe them out because a movie made us afraid and callous towards them. Hyenas are also highly intelligent animals with complex social structures and excellent memory. Apparently, domesticated rats are intelligent, cuddly, and playful among having other good pet qualities. Still don't want one in my house though. Same thing here. My friend, my good friend Lexi has 2 pet rats, and I get pictures and videos of them all the time, and they're very cute, but the idea of having a rodent in my house is, makes me want to throw up. So I don't think I could ever do that to myself, but I love my friend's rats. They're very cute. I just couldn't have anyone in my house. Crows. In India, crows are unholy according to religion, but they are known for their remarkable intelligence. They can remember faces, recognize and imitate human voices, and even use cars to crack open nuts. Wolves. They are always interpreted as evil and highly predatory to humans and livestock. The truth is, they're way more afraid of us than them, and attacks on humans are extremely rare. They also only go after livestock if they have no other choice. Of course, this is the majority case. Wolves are fascinating in that they're very intelligent and are closer to humans than we think. Some wolves and wolf packs are just a-holes. Barracuda. As a dive instructor, many clients have fear with the fish, but they are really calm and mesmerizing to see. What sounds like complete BS, but is actually true. For women giving birth to twins, the longest recorded time between the first twin being born and the second is 90 days. Are they even considered twins? That's crazy. London, UK is technically a forest, the largest urban forest in the world, and has almost as many trees as people. Forest, by particular definition as used by the United Nations and the Forestry Commission, is anywhere that is more than 20% trees. London is 21%. Dragonflies experience up to 9 Gs when cornering. They are the most efficient predator, catching up to 95% of the prey they go after. They breathe through their anus, and most varieties, I'm not sure if that's the correct word, can't walk. I thought you meant they experience the fastest data speeds ever recorded. A dragonfly can download 9 terabytes a second when cornering and upload 6 terabytes a second. Drinking beer after being exposed to some kind of ionizing radiation can reduce the adverse effects. Orcas are a natural predator of moose. In Alaska, the moose swim between islands. Orcas nab them. There were mammoths after the Great Pyramids were built for 500 years. The Beatles were only a band for 10 years, and their recording discography is only 7 years between their first and last album. They had distinctively 2 different eras, the mop top years and the years, yet they were only around for 10 years. 10 years that we're never getting back. God, I hate the Beatles. The longest manned refueled flight in history was 64 days long. The aircraft used was a Cessna 172. 14 years before the Titanic sank, a fictional story was written by a man named Morgan Robertson. In the story, the ship was described as the largest ever built at the same time, same as Titanic. It was also woefully short on lifeboats, and it also struck an iceberg and sank. The ship in the story was also a triple screw propeller liner, and it was named the Titan. What's something you don't think you'll ever do again in your life? Say yes when my gut is telling me no. I did the wild cave tour at Mammoth Cave, where it's like a 6-hour caving adventure, and I'll never do it again. I didn't think I was claustrophobic, but crawling through space is so narrow, you have to lay flat on your stomach and shimmy your body with no room to even lift your head or turn around. Never again. Some of the areas you crawl through are so tiny that they actually have height and chest circumference limits so people don't get stuck. Nightmare scenario. I would never. Lining up early in the day at a concert with general admission tickets so I can get to the front row, then never leaving that spot for the entire concert so I can hold my spot while the main act performs. See Metallica 24 times live. Always did this in the early years until I realized that you can still enjoy it as much further away where you can breathe. Feed my dog puppuccinos at Starbucks. His farts in the car after were death. Climb Stairway to Heaven in Hawaii. I took the legal route, and there were several escarpments and super narrow trails. One bad step and you can die there. Skydive. Biggest rush, but once is enough. Ride a roller coaster. Y'all, take care of your back, because when it goes, your life choices are reduced. Trust the electric company to trim the oak trees in my front yard. They chopped down 2 mature trees and left the firewood in a giant pile in the driveway as a favor. F you, Duke/Progress Energy. F you. Give birth. Giving birth seems so painful and traumatic. I'm surprised there aren't more one and dones. Go to a concert where I have to stand. I'm too old for that stuff. Please just give me seats. Sneezing and pooping my pants at the same time. I can see that you don't want to do that again, but those sneezes tend to sneak up on you. What cheap food would you still eat no matter how rich you got? I swear I'm about to go shopping and take this entire thread with me. All of this sounds delicious. Username checks out. Baked potato, taquitos, grilled cheese and tomato soup, corn dogs. I would never eat 4 hot dogs in one sitting. sitting, unless of course they were covered in deep fried cornbread. Edit, got an update for this at 11 p.m. and am currently having a late night corn dog, rice and beans, peanut butter and jelly. Fast food burgers just hit different than gourmet ones. Both delicious, but not always in the mood for gourmet. See, I'm the exact opposite. I can't eat fast food beef. Something about it just makes me sick. I can only eat a hamburger if it's like a sit-down restaurant, or if I grill it myself, or if like my dad grills it. But like, you'll never catch me dead eating a Wendy's burger, a Big Mac, In-N-Out, Whataburger. It's no way. Hell no. Instant noodles, buttered bagels. Doesn't matter what kind of bagel, because they're all delicious. Those shitty single-serving fruit pie things from Little Debbie, JJ's Bakery, Fran's, etc. Hole-in-the-wall places where the most expensive item is like 15 bucks. I've eaten at really fancy restaurants and can easily say that I'll take the holes in the walls any day. It's damn good for a great price. What is the most creative insult you've ever heard? It could be that the purpose of your life is to serve as a warning to others. My wife says that I have the fashion sense of a colorblind pimp. Not saying she's wrong though. I've heard this one at work. Having Bob on your team is like having two good workers quit. Was golfing and stopped to pee on a tree and didn't realize I was facing the direction of an oncoming cart path, and the guy yells out while driving by, "Looks like a pee, only smaller." A former coworker was getting some shit from one of our customers. After the customer said something particularly bad, my coworker looked him square in the face and said, "Comments like that is probably why you're missing teeth." About 10 years ago, a guy drove past me and yelled out the window, "Your mustache doesn't suit you." I'm still not over it. I hope you're not a woman, because that's just devastating. I did not attend his funeral, but I sent a nice letter saying I approved of it. Mark Twain. First time I went to dinner at my boyfriend's parents' house, he warned me his brother has the modesty and humility of a newly moneyed rapper. He might try to suck his own during dinner. You mom had to think about other babies while breastfeeding you. Somewhere on Reddit a while ago, you look like someone who preheats the microwave. I read this comment on a post where a guy explained how amazing he felt after the first time a girl asked him out. The first response, "Cool man, what breed was her guide dog?" You think in low power mode. What's the most hurtful thing someone has ever said to you? When I was young, my mom said, "Holidays are better without me." I cheated on you, and the only reason I'm telling you is because I'm pregnant. You'll never be loved or cherished because you look like me. You will never belong anywhere. No one cares about you enough to actually be there for you. You will be a burden to everyone else. From dad to 11-year-old me after we argued about how he missed my birthday again. But looking back, I laugh because it seemed like he was projecting his own insecurities onto me. Lol. I took my math book up to the teacher's desk with a question. I wasn't grasping it. He slams my book on his desk and asks me if I was stupid or what. Small town school about 30 years ago. If I ever run into that prick, I have a few things to show and tell him. Locked in the bathroom, naked. Just look at you. You're fat and ugly. Nobody will ever love you the way I do. Ex-husband. He was right. I married someone who does love me, just not the way he loved me. Thank God. You're a stupid diaper-wearing cripple, and the world would be better off without you. My middle school bully. For context, I have spina bifida and suffer from total incontinence due to the nerves not working right. I had a theater director pull me aside after a show that I totally spaced a cue/line. It honestly was a super insignificant line, and the other actor improvised very well, and she straight up told me, "Putting you in this show was the biggest mistake I've ever made. You're a disappointment." She got fired 2 years later and went to jail for a couple of years for banging my best friend's cousin, who was a 15-year-old student. I wonder if putting me in a play with one line was the biggest mistake she's ever made. I had struggled with infertility for years, and at my dad's funeral, my stepsister said, "I bet you feel bad that you never gave him any grandkids. In spite of not being good looking, you are so good at studies." I don't know whether I must feel hurtful or not. These are all real bad. Mine is also pretty bad. My senior year of high school, we had a friend group, and we ended up having a falling out, and we kind of like split into two smaller friend groups. And I saw a screenshot from one of my, former friends in the other friend group now that said, "I like Mason, but not that much." And I was like, wow. Like, I used to go over to this guy's house every day during lunch a senior year, and we would play Mortal Kombat together. And he goes, "I like Mason, but not that much." Isn't that crazy? Anyway, what screams I'm a man-child, but nobody realizes it? Their explosive emotions are valid, even when exaggerated, but yours are never, and you're just dramatic. I read something once that said that men only think that women are more emotional because they don't count anger as an emotion. Just summed up every musing I've ever heard from sexist men. And I'm a man, never apologizing and never being wrong. They have extremely strict morals and principles when citing them will get them out of doing something. They will drop all morals and principles when ignoring them will get them out of doing something. Not learning how to perform basic domestic tasks like laundry, dishes, etc., and if they make an active decision not to learn those things, it just tells me they want a mommy and not a partner. 3 children stacked on top of each other in a trench coat. Ah, I see you've met Vincent Adultman, who works at the business factory. When he refers to watching his own kids as babysitting or acts like it's a favor, I help my wife with the kids. Feeling the need to outman the other men you're around. Inability to compromise ever. Lack of respect for people doing things for them even when paid. Being short or rude to servers and staff. Not saying thank you and please, etc. Thankfully, this is usually very easy to spot on first dates. Not taking out your garbage for weeks on end when you live in an apartment building, even when the weather gets really hot and your trash stinks so badly that simply walking into the building is like being hit in the face with a decomposing corpse. Yes, man, child in 33, I'm talking to you. What has a 0% chance of killing you? Putting pasta on the ground a kilometer away from your home. Events that happen after you die. It makes you double dead, actually. Lol, I guess it could kill the reincarnated version of you. Cleaning up around here, according to my wife. A dodo. If you ever dug a hole in the dodo's natural habitat, there's a chance you could catch an avian flu that has lain dormant since the infected dodo had died. Whatever makes you stronger. Sadly, implication works one way. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but what makes you stronger may or may not kill you. That snail and that guy's wife. The snail can kill you? I think it's a reference to an old, wildly popular post about an immortal snail that chases you at a very slow pace forever, and if you accept the $1 million or whatever it was, and if it touches you, you die. I get the reference, but the snail doesn't have a 0% chance of killing you. Yesterday. Clearly, you don't know what kind of bad decisions I made yesterday. A decision you made yesterday could kill you today. That's the closest I can get to disproving you. Oh wait, a vinyl copy of the Beatles yesterday decapitated you. Hearing an opposing viewpoint. Death by snoo snoo. 100% mortality rate. I'll take my chances. Ligma! Nothing has a 0% chance of killing you. What's something people don't really think about during a zombie apocalypse? Having good shoes so you don't get blisters. I'm always shocked in zombie movies and shows that people forget bicycles exist. It's a relatively fast and quiet way to get around that no one uses. Gasoline will go bad in a few years. Most people will die from bad water and bad food. The smell. Dental hygiene will go out the window. The zombie hordes would eventually rot away and their bodies are decomposing, so eventually their tendons and whatever would no longer be able to allow the undead zombies to be mobile. Survivors just need to wait it out. We could stop all this zombie apocalypse nonsense if we'd simply tie the shoelaces together on folks before we bury them. The ideas that you came up with, places that you think you're going to, are probably the exact same thoughts that countless other people have as well. Yeah, I'm just going to the bunker down to the nearest Walmart and hold the place to myself. No, you won't, because country boy Terry already laid claim to the place and is gonna pick you off with his firearms if he sees you encroaching his territory. Or likely, there will already be a massive crowd of zombies waiting for you when you get there. Play a game like Zomboid and your first few days, if not weeks, is built around hardcore survival scavenging and discipline via trying to reserve and avoid wasting supplies. But after you've settled and built something to last and have your needs met, what then? Like The Walking Dead, it becomes painfully less about zombies by some point and more of the everything after survival, the eternal nothing. Cover your skin. A full face helmet and Kevlar jacket and pants would pretty much make you zombie-proof. Brains, just why are they so delicious? I mean, they weren't yesterday, but today I can't get enough. Mosquitoes and ticks could be a real big problem if animals are also affected by the zombie virus. Your work will still ask you if you're available to come in. Tom just got bit yesterday and we don't have anyone to cover his shift. The banks will still want their quarterly fees. Gasoline goes bad if it just sits with no additives. You'd only realistically be able to drive a car for the first year or so, and after that you're walking or riding a horse. I'd like to see a zombie movie where people remember bicycles exist. Drinking water. All lakes and rivers are possible infected during apocalypse, and how long can human live without drinking water? You can easily boil or distill. Someone needs to remember to bring a can opener. My kids can't be quiet for 10 seconds, so we'd be dead within a week. How f***ed we're gonna be when we run out of basic medicine. Do you know how to make penicillin? No? Enjoy dying from same medieval peasants died too. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Make sure to leave a like and maybe even a comment. Comment, you know, how your day's going. Subscribe, turn on post notifications. You gotta hit that bell button. You'll get notified every time this channel uploads. Thank you so much and have a good night. Peace.